Hey everyone, welcome. Today we're going to put on our architect hats, but we're not building houses. We're building trades. We are going to get into the nitty-gritty of execution, which is honestly the one area that can silently make or break your entire trading game. All right, let's just dive right in. We're going to kick things off by tackling a problem that I am willing to bet has frustrated every single one of us at some point or another. You know this feeling, right? You've got a solid plan, you place the trade, and you still end up in the red, but you can't for the life of you figure out why. It feels invisible. It's not always because your idea was wrong. Seriously, think about it. You see a price on the chart, you get all excited, you smash that buy or sell button, and the price you actually get is nowhere close. It feels like some kind of magic trick or maybe just really, really bad luck. Well, here's the big reveal. It's not some random force out to get you. The culprit is almost always something that's totally within your control, your execution. How you get into and out of a trade is every bit as important as why you're doing it in the first place. And this right here brings us to the absolute heart of what we're talking about today. See, every single time you go to place a trade, you are making a fundamental choice, whether you realize it or not. And that choice is between two things. On one side, you've got the market order. This is basically you screaming at the market, get me in this trade right now. You're paying for speed. The trade-off, you get whatever the market's price is at that exact moment. On the other side, you've got the limit order. This is you saying, look, I'm only interested at this price or better. Here, you're paying for control. Now, neither one is good or bad. They're just different tools for completely different situations. And here's why that choice matters so much. The price you see on a chart, that's just a photograph. It's a snapshot of the last trade that happened. It's already history. Your order, though, is an event. It's a live thing that goes into the market and starts consuming orders from other people, and that action can literally change the price while your order is filling. Right, so your order is an event, and that event has consequences. Let's pull back the curtain and look at the invisible costs that can just chew up your profits if you're not careful. First up, the spread. You've heard this a million times. All it is the tiny gap between what buyers are willing to pay and what sellers are asking for. The second you hit that market order, you cross that spread. Just think of it like a mandatory toll you have to pay to get on the trading highway. Okay, next stop is price impact. This is the effect your own order has on the price. Imagine a giant cannonball landing in a tiny puddle. It's going to make a huge splash, right? That's your big order in a market without a lot of other orders. You literally create your own bad price by moving the market against yourself. And when you put all of this together, the spread you paid, the price impact you caused, what do you get? You get slippage. That's the name for that frustrating, sinking feeling you get when you see the difference between the price you thought you'd get and the price that actually showed up in your account. As the source material puts it, and I love this line, if you're ignoring all these hidden costs, you're not really making calculated financial decisions. You're just trading on vibes. And let's be honest, vibes don't pay the bills. So now that we understand the enemy, how do we fight back? Well, it turns out that your most powerful tool might be the one you use the least. That's right, the no trade. A lot of us think of not trading as just doing nothing. We need to completely flip that script. Choosing not to trade because the conditions suck, because the costs are too high, that's an active, strategic decision. It's your shield and it protects your capital. So when do you use this shield? You hit the brakes when liquidity is so low that you know your order is going to be that cannonball in a puddle. You stay on the sidelines when the market is so volatile that the price you see is old news by the time you click your mouse. And you absolutely keep your powder dry when the spread is so wide that you'd be starting the trade deep in a hole. And maybe the most important reason of all is this. You choose no trade when you can't clearly say, this is the point where my idea is proven wrong. Because if you can't define that, you're not really trading. You're just hoping. Okay, so this is all great in theory, but how do we make it practical? Let's put together a super simple framework, a checklist you can run through in less than a minute before you even think about placing a trade. Here it is, your pre-flight checklist. 1. Make a conscious decision. Am I buying speed or am I buying control? That tells you what order type to use. 2. Glance at the order book. Is my size going to cause a major ripple? 3. Look at your worst case scenario. On a DEX, this is your minimum received. Does that number make you feel a little sick? Then maybe walk away. 4. Set your slippage on purpose. Don't just use the default. And 5, and this is the big one, define where you're wrong before you get in. This little checklist won't guarantee a winning trade, but it will absolutely prevent a lot of self-inflicted wounds. So when you really boil it all down, it's this simple. With a market order, you're buying speed. With a limit order, you're buying control. And when you choose no trade, you are buying discipline. And each of those is a deliberate, strategic choice you are making as a trader. And that brings us to our final thought, a question I want you to ask yourself every time you approach the market from now on. Are you being an architect, consciously building a process around these choices? Or are you just closing your eyes, clicking a button, and hoping for the best? Because the answer to that question, well, it will define your entire journey from here.